Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Now, listen, I think that the face of the populist movement is defining itself right now. And Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, I believe, is one of those timely, providential leaders that he's been around. We've listened to him. We've been in his presence as a conservative leader for a long time. But right now, it seems as though America's hitting a point where these leaders are needing to step up. It's like, it reminds me of the class of one of the classes of West Point, where almost all the graduates ended up going to the front lines of history. They served in the Civil War. Happens every now and then. It's called the class the stars fell on when they look back at history. Lieutenant Colonel Allen West, welcome to the Lance Wallnau Show. Tell us, Colonel, about what's happening right now in your campaign, what's happening in Texas, and what's the real urgency that you see?
Well, it's good to be back with you, Lance and Mercedes. And when you look at what is happening in Texas, Texas is really being used as a platform for the destabilization, not just of our own state, but for the United States of America. The fact that we have a porous, wide open border, and you see what is happening with the drug trafficking crisis, with the fentanyl that is being proliferated all across the country, hundreds of thousands of deaths last year, the highest amount of drug overdose in 18 to 45 is that fentanyl. And then, of course, we're the #1 state in the country for human and sex trafficking, top 2 cities, Houston and Dallas, for sex trafficking itself. And then, of course, the public health crisis that we see. So that's job #1. When you traverse across Texas, everyone is attuned to what's happening on the border, and they want the border secured because they understand how that affects their safety and security overall in the state of Texas and the sovereignty of the United States of America.
So here's my frustration, and help me, and I think I represent the large part of the audience out there that listens to us. The senator, current senator, he has 6 years in office to do something. Seems to me that these guys get religion and get motivated and start doing things that are appealing to their base around election cycles, but then they die down their efforts. What can be done? What are you authorized to do, and what can you do as a governor? What can you do in a state like Texas in order to turn things around?
Well, you use the Constitution of the United States of America. That's our rule of law. In Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution, which is called the Guarantee Clause, there are 2 things the federal government is supposed to guarantee to every state in the union. #1, a Republican form of government. That means because we're a constitutional republic. And the second thing is to protect every state in the union from invasion. Now, Article 1, Section 10, Clause #3, it lays out, founding fathers were brilliant, exactly what the states can do if actually invaded when there is an imminent danger without any admit of delay. And so when you look at the fact that unconstitutionally, this is all intentional and purposeful, what the Biden administration has done, and now the founding fathers brilliantly put it into the Constitution, how states can defend themselves. And furthermore, in the Texas state Constitution, Article 4, Section 7, one of the preeminent responsibilities of the governor of Texas as the commander-in-chief of the Texas Military Department, 2 words, repel invasions. And so for whatever reason, I do not understand why Governor Abbott has not stood upon the U.S. Constitution and the Texas state Constitution to do what is necessary, because right now the Biden administration is aiding and abetting human trafficking, sex trafficking, drug trafficking, and also pretty much so aiding and abetting a terrorist organization, which is what the cartels truly are.
Well, you were down there, right, on the border. I mean, it's not like you're talking about this from a distance. So you saw the National Guard and the cartels. What do they actually do? I mean, what's going on there right now?
Well, one of the reasons why you have so many suicides happening in our Texas National Guard is because they don't have a clear and defined mission. They don't have a clear and defined task and purpose. They're just basically observers there. One of the things that is coming out is that it appears that there is some type of coordination with cartels because they're letting our National Guard know when they're going to be pushing humans across the Rio Grande River into Texas. And we're facilitating and we're enabling that. And so that's a very big concern because if they had the right task and purpose, if they had the right rules of engagement, if they had the right equipment, they would be down there doing what is necessary to protect the sovereignty of the state of Texas.
Let me just, in case people didn't catch what you said, and you said it clearly enough, there's mounting evidence, ladies and gentlemen, that the National Guard is coordinating, not resisting, not attacking, not fighting, but coordinating the passage of cartel traffic across the border in such a way that there's no accidental confrontation that would undercut the Biden administration policy of safe passage and minimal violence on the border. So what in the world, I guess, what would you do? So, okay, it's your turn. The populist movement is looking for leadership. That's why we're looking at, this is why Donald Trump is attractive. That's why DeSantis is attractive. And we're looking for leadership in you. What would you do?
Well, first and foremost, we create a border control zone, Highway 90 to the north, the Rio Grande Valley to the south, and then you already have the designated sectors, which is the El Paso sector, Big Bend sector, Del Rio sector, Laredo, and Rio Grande Valley sector, and you deploy your troops down there on the major infiltration routes, and you interdict people, you empower them, along with your constitutional law enforcement officers, the county sheriffs, and also the constables, to be able to arrest, detain, and deport. And we're no longer going to allow the coordinated crossings of the Rio Grande. I saw it for myself last year down in Roma, Texas, where a man yelled out in Spanish that he had 80 ready to cross, and the National Guardsmen that were there turned on the lights of their Humvee so that they could see exactly where to bring those individuals across. And they collected them up on the banks of the river, and they took them up to a bus and loaded them on with the Border Patrol, and they took them to an undisclosed location, which we know now, those non-governmental organizations. And so we're going to revoke the licenses of Catholic Charities, Lutheran Ministries, and these other NGOs that are getting federal taxpayer money to be the travel agencies for illegal immigrants. They should not be getting on buses and planes and other means of transportation to be able to be dispersed across the state of Texas and also across the United States of America. So we're going to take a hard stance based upon the Constitution and protect the sovereignty of Texas.
Crazy. I mean, I'm so sorry, but when I think that we've got NGOs licensed and paid to facilitate 2 million invading people coming into the United States illegally as part of the Biden regime's policy for recruiting future voters and cheap labor to undercut American workers for big corporate buddies of his. It's crazy. I heard that you would actually be willing to camp out there for a period of time to personally oversee this. Is this true?
Well, I served 22 years in the United States Army. I've been in 3 combat areas of operation, so it's no big deal for me to be down there and live with the soldiers in a tent and be out there walking patrols with them in the middle of the night, and because I think that that's what they need to see. I never ask anyone to do something that I'm not willing to do myself, and that's the essence of true leadership.
Ladies and gentlemen, did you hear that? We are talking, I tell you, it gives me goosebumps. This is like George Washington type America fighting for its survival again. We need, the same way that we needed a business mogul and a media titan to take on the Clinton machine on the left in Donald Trump, we need someone with executive sense and military background to actually protect America now from this dismantling of our culture, our economy, and our country by the regime, lawless regime in power. So you would walk the patrols, you would be there as necessary, you'd provide physical leadership, and you would provide, I think, something else, a spotlight where the truth is going to be told more and more, because I'm convinced we're in a battle of public persuasion. The big battle we're in is in getting people to see what's happening and recognize what options they have to engage in. We've got one shot, I think, with midterms. We've got one shot with this next cycle of presidential elections for the people to recover their institutions before they lock them out and turn us into the terrorist enemies. We're going to talk about in the next segment here with what is your take on the Department of Homeland Security? I'm going to go into that next segment on them issuing a statement, a bulletin warning about disinformation and basically targeting, I would say, conservatives as potential terrorists. What's your take on that?
Well, it's very interesting to me, first and foremost, with the Biden administration, that we're deploying thousands of troops to protect the Ukrainian border against 180,000 Russian troops, when we have 178,000, 180,000 came across our border illegally. And the other thing is that it's par for the course, like you say, with the progressive socialist left, to target their political opposition, constitutional conservatives, instead of targeting the people that are really invading our country. And so the Department of Homeland Security and Director Mayorkas, I mean, he should be fired. He should be terminated. He doesn't have the honor to step down, but he is completely complicit with what is happening and what is going on, and the fact that we continue to have flights that are taking off out of Texas, landing in the middle of the night in Pennsylvania, New York, Florida, Tennessee, wherever across the United States of America. That is undermining our homeland security, and we should not have a person that is participating in that occurring.
Wow. Arizona has declared their border is an invasion. They've now found the mechanism to do that. Colonel Allen West, how do people keep in touch with you? How do they get behind what you're doing?
Sure. You go to the website west4texas.com, west4texas.com, and you can follow us on all the social media platforms. And we appreciate your support, your prayers, and your encouragement.
Wonderful. Let's get behind Lieutenant Colonel Allen West. I believe this man is a patriot. God's got his hand on him for such a time as this. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to hearing more from you in the future.
Very few people know that my buddy Mike Lindell built his business literally while sleeping in the basement of his sisters. He has a couple of sisters. He was just kind of couch surfing from house to house. He built this incredible business. And early on, remember, Mike's a fairly young Christian, actually, but when he first got saved after coming out of drugs, he would wear this cross. And the producers, like the QVC commercial, they said, "Hey, you got to get rid of the cross." He said, "No, I'm not getting rid of the cross." He had warfare over that cross. This guy was marked like Donald Trump from the beginning to be able to do something significant. Now, he built this incredible company, and you know about that. But I'm serious about this. Mike's products on his MyPillow site are phenomenal. And the one that I love the most is the soft, therapeutic, cushiony, warm. You got firm, suede, imitation suede and solid boot bottom slippers he's got. You could wear these indoors. You could wear these outdoors. And it's my personal favorite because when I put my foot into them, it's like a little slice of heaven. You could sleep with the pillow, but you could walk with a pillow. And I would prefer to walk with the pillow. You want to go to this site right now. This is mypillow.com. And here we go. It's www, like you didn't know that, .mypillow.com. But when you check out, you got to use the promo code Lance, because I told Mike I'm going to keep him in business with the slipper sales. You can get, these are the low ones, the low ride in the back, but you can get the high ones. I've got both. I've got a pair for home and a pair for the office, mypillow.com. But don't forget, use the code because you're going to get like 40, 50% off of his stuff, all of it, with Lance. And this is the deal that Mike and I have. And I love this guy because he's a patriot. He's not ashamed of Jesus. And his products just make me feel like I'm walking on a cloud.